Have my nice little lounge chair with sort of weird little metal bookcase next to it, cat toys, and obviously coffee. And then the cat tree behind it, and there is the cat, who is very blurry right now. It takes a reading vlog to let you know about all the weird weekend habits you have. Yes, so I'm here for day one of my Sotola-thon. I woke up at like 4:15 a.m. this morning, not on purpose. I swear, not on purpose, not for the purposes of this readathon. Mostly just because that's often when my body wakes me up. I have been an early riser ever since I was very, very young, and I think also part of the reason I woke up particularly early this morning, I usually wake up between 5 and 6, at the latest 7, but I think the reason I particularly woke up early this morning is a combination of the fact that I still haven't quite adjusted to daylight savings time, and also I think I was just a little excited to start, the vlogs. Yeah, don't think that this is a normal thing for me to wake up at 4 a.m., but such I am, and I'm going to take advantage of it. Later today, at around noon, I'm going to actually be going to the movie theater. I'm going to see a live broadcast of Akhenaten, which is an opera by Philip Glass, which is being put on in a new production by the Metropolitan Opera. And I'm super excited to go see this production, or to see a broadcast of it. It's been getting rave reviews, and I've listened to the music, and it sounds great. So I'll be taking you guys to the theater with me, not into the theater, because copyright and everything, but anyway, and then after that, I think I might actually go to Books A Million, a sort of small chain store that has some locations in the Midwest, because I just got a coupon for it, and I might buy a couple of books. But other than that, I'll be giving you reading updates throughout the day. My goal is to just to get to 100 pages before I leave for the opera. I may also I'm pretty sure I'm going to do some exercise today as well. I have over there, which you can't see when you're looking at me, is my stationary bike. So I think I'll do my stationary bike for like an hour, and then do crunches and push-ups and some things. I know push-ups is hilarious when you look like me, but I try to do them every now and then, and maybe some other things. But anyway, other than that, I'm just going to read, and I won't be doing time-lapses like Jason did, because I'm recording on my my camera, not on my phone. My phone has that sort of time-lapse feature, but my camera doesn't. But I'll be giving you reading updates throughout the day, and the books I'm going to be starting out the day working on, probably 2 cantos of Dante's Divine Comedy. I'm still working on Purgatorio. I will probably try to finish A Brief History of Painting. So hopefully you'll be getting a little sort of mini review from me later today. I'll be continuing with The Battle for God, A History of Fundamentalism by Karen Armstrong, and An Unquiet Mind by K. Redfield Jameson. And then we'll just see, if I read other things, we'll see where my whims take me. Anyway, I'll just get to reading. Hey guys, so it is now, what time is it now? It is just about 10 a.m., and I've now actually read 110 pages, and I managed to finish A Brief History of Painting by Roy Bolton. For anyone who hasn't seen me talk about this before, this is just a book with 150 paintings in it. It'll be the painting on one side, and then some text about the painting and the artist on the other, and it has 150 paintings from throughout the history of art, and it just tells the history of art that way, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good, accessible way to get introduced to just the broad strokes of art history. The essays that are included next to every painting are really short, but I feel like they pack a good punch. They tend to provide really nice insight, at least for me as a relative newbie when it comes to painting. And yeah, I mean, and it goes by really quickly because, again, it's just a few paragraphs and then the painting. I found some new favorite paintings in here and some new artists who I want to explore. The only thing that I find a little odd about it is that a lot of the paintings in every painting it indicates where the painting is kept, what museum or where or whatever. And what seems odd to me is that a lot of the paintings that he includes as a part of his history are in private collections, which is sort of weird to me because I feel like when you write a book about the history of painting, you would want to include paintings that people can actually go and see for themselves. And I don't know whether that's that easy when something is in a private collection. But I mean, that's not a huge criticism though, because I don't think that's quite the point of the book. But yeah, I mean, I would recommend this if you're, if you want to get into art history. If you're already pretty well acquainted with art history, I feel like this might be a bit basic. For me, it was really good because I knew nothing, or not nothing, but almost nothing. But yeah, anyway, I mean, it goes, right from, it starts, in ancient Egypt, with tomb paintings and goes right up until Damien Hirst, who I believe is still alive and who does these paintings where, or it's not even really a painting, but this is I don't know what you'd call it, but it's a piece where he put dead butterflies onto a canvas of pink paint, and it's called Gaily, Merrily, Lovely, Happily, Minding My Own Business. Anyway, so I enjoyed it. So that's a brief history of painting. So I finished that. I read a chapter of The Battle for God by Karen Armstrong. The chapter that I finished was chapter 9. Britta and I only have the 10th chapter and the afterword to go. And I think I'm going to be talking about this more extensively when I finish it. But she sort of starts in around the 1400s, around the sort of birth of the early modern era, and goes right up until 1999. So right up to the doorstep of where we're at right now. Although I think some of her insights are a bit not quite dated, but like she sort of wonders at some points, like where certain aspects of fundamentalism will go in the future, and it's sort of sad to see some of them have sort of come to fruition. But anyway, her writing style is really good. She's really easy to read. She's really great at summarizing. She's really great at summarizing a lot of content in a really short passage, really elegantly. You can tell it's really well researched. There's like hundreds of references in the back. But anyway, I think I'm going to talk about it more in depth when I finish it, which I think will be Monday. I think I'll split the last chapter and the afterward into tomorrow and the next day. So yeah, but I'm really liking that. And I also read a few poems in in the Penguin Book of English Verse. And I was thinking I would read to you a longer poem, but then I was like, you guys don't want to sit through that. So I'll read you a shorter poem that kind of struck my fancy by George Herbert, 17th century religious poet, English poet. And the poem is called Hope. And here's how it goes. I gave to Hope a watch of mine, but he an anchor gave to me. Then an old prayer book did I present, and he an optic sent. With that I gave a vial full of tears, but he a few green ears. Ah, loiterer, I'll no more I'll bring. I did expect a ring. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, but I rather liked it. So anyway, yeah, I read a few poems. So I am gonna do some exercise. After that, it will probably be time for me to get ready to head to the movie theater, and if I have any time between exercise and the theater, I'll probably just watch some booktube. But yeah, I'll be taking you to the theater with me, not like into the theater, but and then I think I'll go to Books A Million, and then I'll come home, and we'll touch base then. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. So I thought I would show you guys the ledge, what is now a ledge, where my patio used to be, or porch, whatever you call it. They are redoing all the patios on this side of the building over the course of the next few weeks. So yeah, I just kind of came home one day and was like, oh, now I just casually have like a 50-foot drop off on off the side of my apartment. So anyway, I thought you guys might get a kick out of that. And there's Bessie. Bessie, say hi. Hey. I have no idea whether that angle for the camera and the car is at all normal. So I hope you're not getting some weird shot, but I think I have it positioned right here. So I'm about to leave for the movie theater, and I thought that I might just chat briefly about Philip Glass's Akhenaten. So it's a relatively new opera for me. I just listened to it a couple weeks ago, and Philip Glass he's like, you know, one of the quintessential contemporary composers. You know, he's done a lot of soundtracks, which, you know, I'm guessing a lot of you have heard. I think he did The Hours, the adaptation of the Michael Cunningham novel. But he's one of the quintessential practitioners of the minimalist school of music, which involves a lot of sort of repetition and slow building over time, using again, repetition and very gradual sort of variations on, you know, a single theme. And from what I've heard of this opera, the music in it is very much very quintessential Philip Glass. So Akhenaten is about a pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Akhenaten, he took over as pharaoh, and basically, so before Akhenaten, the religion of Egypt had been, you know, polytheistic, and all these different gods, you know, Isis, Osiris, Ra, etc. But Akhenaten took over, and he decided that he was going to abolish this polytheistic religion and institute a monotheistic faith based on the worship of Aten, I believe is the name of the god, who I believe was one of the many sun gods. And his name Akhenaten is actually sort of a variation on the name Aten. So he just upended the whole religion of Egypt, and he also completely he uprooted the whole Egyptian government. He changed the capital city. He just picked up from the current capital and made a new capital city, which I cannot remember the name of right now. But he made this whole new capital city, which was all supposed to be a sort of holy city for the worship of this one god, and he was sort of the, you know, high priest of this new religion. But he focused so much on this sort of religious reform that he didn't really do a particularly good job of actually, like, being pharaoh of Egypt. So his empire shrank, and, you know, rival nations would pick at his empire, and eventually he was just sort of toppled because, or at least in the story of this opera, he was toppled by invaders, I believe. Basically, after his reign, Egypt just went straight back to its old polytheistic religion. You know, basically the new capital city that he founded was just, you know, abandoned, destroyed. The opera actually ends in the modern day. It's very interesting. It ends with a narrator who is talking as though he was sort of a tour guide for tourists, and he's talking about taking tourists on through the ruins of this city, and talks all about it. So it's a sort of interesting commentary on religion and people who try to change the world and such. And yeah, it doesn't have that much of a real plot to it, so it'll certainly be the weirdest opera I've seen so far, but I'm really excited. I really like Philip Glass's music. And these live broadcasts tend to be a lot of fun because they have like interviews with the singers, interviews with the conductor, maybe sometimes with like other sort of personnel on the opera, on the production, and So they tend to be a lot of fun, and I also have a weakness for theater popcorn, so I will probably be getting some theater popcorn. But anyway, I thought I would just talk a little bit about that. I can't take you into the theater because, but I will let you know how it goes. And afterward, I'm thinking I'll go to Books A Million, so you'll get to see a bookstore after. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, I'll turn off the camera now and just drive unadulterated. So anyway, talk to you later, guys. So I'm starting my drive over to Books A Million, but I just got out of the movie theater, and Akhenaten was excellent. I thought that, I mean, people said it was mesmerizing, and I mean, it's been getting rave reviews, and has like a sold out performance at the Met and everything, and the theater was packed. The movie theater, that is, where I went, and it usually isn't for an opera. For the operas, when they do an opera broadcast, it's usually like me and like 5 old people. But there were a ton of people who showed up to see this opera, and so that was really cool. And I would say that they probably came for the right one, because it was just amazing. Anthony Roth Costanzo, the countertenor who voices the title role of Akhenaten, he just has, I don't know, he has this like really gentle voice, but a gentle voice that still somehow projects over the orchestra with so much ease. It's amazing. Janae Bridges, who is a contralto, the deepest female voice, she plays Nefertiti, Akhenaten's wife, and she was incredible as well. And the interviews with both of them were just great. They are national treasures. They seem like such sweet people. The conductor was Karen Kamensik, which I feel like is notable because it still is sadly uncommon for women to conduct in major opera houses. So that was cool. And I mean, I don't really know how to judge conducting, but I thought the music was great. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know how many of you live in New York City, but if you can afford to go to the Met and you're considering seeing this, then I would recommend you do it, because I thought it was amazing. It's very sort of ritualized. That's sort of the point. The whole thing is done in this very ritualistic sense, with like walking across the stage very slowly, doing very slow movements. No movement is unchoreographed in it. So it is interesting, and that goes along with the music very well, because the music is very sort of repetitive and can sort of lull you into, I guess, hypnotized state almost. And this production also features a lot of juggling. Okay, that was uncalled for. A lot of juggling, which I know sounds odd, but apparently one of the first records we have of juggling taking place is from ancient Egypt. So that was kind of the inspiration to have all this juggling in this production. There's a whole like squad of jugglers who come onto the stage every now and on almost every scene. And there were times when I felt like it got a little bit overwhelming, where it was just like, okay, I don't know if all this is necessary. But that was only a few instances where I felt that, and on the whole, I thought it worked really well and was super interesting. So yeah, I'm really glad I went to this. The tickets for the movie theater for the broadcast, the opera broadcast, are not cheap for some reason, but it was worth it, and I enjoyed my theater popcorn. So anyway, yeah, it was a lot of fun, And anyway, I have just pulled into the Books A Million parking lot. I don't know how I feel about this whole driving and talking into a camera thing. Doesn't seem safe. Anyway, I forget if I mentioned this, but the reason that I'm stopping at Books A Million to buy a book is, or buy a couple books maybe, is because I just got a coupon. So it's not just for no reason. Anyway, we will see what we find. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Alright guys, so I'm back from the bookstore, and I actually got some good finds in there. So the nice thing about Books A Million is they sort of mix in used books in among their new books. So every now and then you can stumble across a book that is a lot cheaper than the others. And I stumbled across two that I actually really wanted to read. You know, I sort of have an informal list of books that I'd like to get before next year when I won't buy any books, just sort of bucket list books. And I found two of them. The first was Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung, who I wanted to read for quite some time. It's a little, the spine is broken, but you know, I can deal with that. And then the other is The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by Oliver Sacks. His book about sort of weird neurological cases, which is a classic in the field. And then I found some music, some used music. The first is chamber music and music for piano solo by Mozart. So there's a quartet for oboe, violin, viola, and violoncello in F major, string quartet number 17, string quartet number 16, a bunch of string quartets, Fantasy in C minor, variations for piano, piano sonata in F major, etc. So just an assortment of Mozart's music. And then we have Vivaldi. This is volume 3 of the Vivaldi collection, and this is the string symphonies. I want to try to get more into listening to more Vivaldi. I've only really listened to the Four Seasons, so that was a good find. And then finally is J.S. Bach. This is the Brandenburg Concertos, number 1, 2, and 3. Actually, Lillian Niesvender, just the other day, suggested that I listen to the Brandenburg Concertos, and you know, I have listened to them, but I don't really have them on my phone or anything. I've just listened to them on YouTube, so it's nice to have at least the first 3 that I can put on my phone. So, anyway, that's all. I'm gonna go home, and you will see me back at home, so. Alright guys, so I am back in my apartment. I have just eaten some dinner, and I watched a little bit of BookTube. I think I'm gonna actually watch a movie now. I want to watch the movie Hunger, directed by Steve McQueen and with Michael Fassbender, among other well-known actors. I know Jason will be making a video about that soon, and it sounds like an interesting movie. Yeah, and I thought over this break I should try to watch some movies in addition to reading, because film is a cool art form. And I don't watch nearly as many films as I do read books. So, yeah, but not sure how much reading I'm gonna get done the rest of the night. It's 5:30 right now. But if I do read, I imagine I will read An Unquiet Mind by K. Redfield Jameson, or I will chip away at The Ancestor's Tale, or read one of those books where it was like collections of essays and whatnot. But I can't imagine myself reading that much more. But we'll see. Sometimes I get a mysterious second wind, but I also may just go to sleep. Well, no, I won't go to sleep right after the watching Hunger. If after Hunger I'm not feeling like I will read, then I will just edit the video and then actually post it, because I need to do that before I go to sleep. But anyway, I will get back to you. Alright, hello again. Sorry for the lighting in the last clip. I didn't think to just turn the light on for that clip. But I just finished Hunger, directed by Steve McQueen. I don't know. I watched it sort of exclusively on Jason's recommendation and not necessarily because I knew what it was about. I mean, I knew vaguely what it was about, but I did not expect it to be as intense as it was. So for anyone who doesn't know, Hunger is about a prison where IRA members are being held back in the 1970s, I believe. The IRA, Irish Republican Army, it takes place in Northern Ireland. And they, at the beginning of the film, they're on, I believe, a cleaning strike, which means that they all refuse prison clothes and they all refuse to wash themselves. So they're basically all in these tiny cells where, like, their own feces is smeared on the walls, and they empty chamber pots into the hallways outside, under the door cracks, and then later on, this one guy, that character played by Michael Fassbender, leads a hunger strike, and the movie shows his deterioration in graphic detail. Not exactly what I was expecting. Probably if I'd known how intense it was, I wouldn't have watched it tonight. It certainly makes a weird combination with Akhenaten, which was this, like, pristine, ritualistic, opulent, sort of historical epic drama about a larger-than-life character, and then to come to this, to a sort of, well, also kind of historical, and I guess you could maybe argue it's kind of historical. Well, I mean, it is historical, it did actually happen. I don't know about larger-than-life, maybe, well, I mean, yeah, I guess being able to starve yourself to death is kind of larger-than-life in a sense. I certainly don't think I would be able to do it, no matter what I believed in, but it was a really well done film. I mean, the acting was great. Liam Cunningham, who's in Game of Thrones, was in there as a priest, or I believe a priest or a monk or something. And he and Michael Fassbender's character have this long conversation about the morality of Michael Fassbender's character desire to go on this hunger strike. And the priest sort of argues that, you know, it's going to ruin the lives of the families of these men who go on a hunger strike. It's not going to accomplish anything. You know, it's just a way of basically committing suicide to stand on a moral high ground. Then Bobby Sands, that's his name, the Michael Fassbender's character. Bobby Sands argues that no, it will accomplish something, and, you know, he wants to die for what he believes in. It's a really interesting conversation. I think there's something to both sides of what they say. I don't know, I mean, I feel like different parts of my brain were rooting for different sides of that argument. Probably, if I were to have a real-life situation where I was, like, in a situation like that, I would be more inclined to be like the priest. I feel bad that I can't remember his name, but I would be more like that, a bit more on the side of, okay, well, worst case scenario, this is going to be pretty bad, and there's a good chance that it won't accomplish anything, so, but it's hard not to have some sort of admiration for Bobby Sands and what he did, even though I don't think I would ever, like, endorse it, I suppose, or, well, I don't know, I mean, because I don't know, I'm not sure, but, really interesting movie. I can't wait to see Jason's video on it. I'm sure he'll have some interesting commentary, more interesting than me, since I'm just sort of giving this all, sort of off the cuff, but anyway, so I am glad I watched it. I think it is a really good film, really well done, just really well filmed and everything, well acted, and such, So anyway, so I have a feeling that this vlog is going to be the longest vlog that I do this week because I had the, like, going out to the opera and everything, and I think also just it being my first day, I was really sort of enthusiastic about it all. So I have a feeling that the rest of my days, the vlogs won't be so long. But I'm gonna sign off in terms of vlogging here. I may read some after this, but first, before I start reading, I want to just get this edited and uploaded. I may read, again, the K. Redfield Jameson memoir, or I may try to work on The Ancestor's Tale, maybe read a few poems from the Penguin Book of English Verse, and, I don't know, maybe read a few pieces from the Book on Books. But I may also just watch BookTube. There are a few BookTube videos that have gone up that I want to watch. I think Sharon Goforth just posted a Nonfiction November update, which I would love to watch, and I may just go look through my subscription feed. So, anyway, I will talk to you all tomorrow. I really enjoyed doing a vlog. This will depend on how the rest of the week goes, but I might be inclined to do more vlogs in the future if I continue to enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed doing it today. Anyway, yeah, so thank you all for watching. I look forward to your comments. I always love hearing from you, and anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.